and it was always part of it was that, our 5-time great-grandfather was a Menominee chief.
I'm Tom Van Lieshout.
Hello, I'm Jim Van Lieshout, and we are descendants of the Jourdain family.
Our mother, Mary Jane, her mother was Grace Jourdain, and her father was L.T. Jourdain. L.T. was the adopted son of Thomas, and then Thomas was the son of Joseph Jourdain. Joseph Jourdain was a blacksmith, and Joseph was born in Three Rivers, Canada. So he was a French Canadian. Three Rivers is between Montreal and Quebec City. It actually is the oldest Canadian industrial city, and where they got their blacksmith background is they were Three Rivers was a cast iron operation, and they built the items for the French Navy, so they would build them in Canada and ship over to France for building. So then at 18, Joseph immigrated to the U.S. to work as the smithy and the blacksmith in Fort LeBay. So he was able to use his smith skills and being the blacksmith, and helped with the fur trade side of it. So it was kind of the building that he would operate out of.
Sure.
Well, and Joseph's wife, Marguerite, her father and grandfather were huge fur traders in the Fox Valley area with the Greenots, and so you had the family connection on the blacksmith and the fur trading side.
And he was well noted for his ceremonial peace pipe. And it was basically, he would use the barrel of a gun, and he had a special logo that he would put in. So this is not a authentic tomahawk, Jourdain tomahawk, but Jourdain tomahawk would have a half crescent moon inscribed in it. And with the Jourdains, they had 8 children. The oldest son, William, and the youngest son, Thomas, both became blacksmiths. As you mentioned, William emigrated here. Thomas came to the Nina Menasha area with his father when they were tasked to be the blacksmith for the Winnebago Rapids project in 1836.
William, the agency blacksmith at Portage, starting in 1832, came from a family well entrenched within the realm of his mother's indigenous relatives.
Joseph's wife, Marguerite, was actually very important and also very well respected in the Menominee, the whole Menominee nation. And actually there's a very interesting trial of Chief Ashkosh, and her family is involved and she's involved in that. And what happened was a relative who was a boarder in the Joseph Jourdain Marguerite household was out hunting, and he saw some rustling in the woods. He shot at, and it ended up being another Native American in a canoe. And from one tribe to another, he was a little concerned, so he put the deceased in his canoe, brought him to basically Chief, at that time it was Chief Ashkosh, would end up being Chief Ashkosh. He brought him to Ashkosh, and because by tribal law, Ashkosh had him killed. And then through tribal law, Marguerite had Ashkosh's life in her hands. She could decide if he should be murdered now or would he live. And she decided that he would live, and then later on he became Chief Ashkosh.
Whereas many Métis families struggled to find their place in the realm of a rapidly changing cultural landscape, the Jourdains seem to have passed down a differing experience.
Native Menasha was being built by a lot of the Eastern money, and it was not, so they had to work themselves into the system. But you move from Joseph to Thomas, who, like I mentioned earlier, became the postmaster, worked themselves into that part of the society. But by the third generation, with LT and his wife Anne being able to help build up the system, and then the next generation, my grandpa and my uncle owned businesses in Neenah and Menasha. So it just became assimilation and then being a part of. The uniqueness of what their trade was they were able to rock both societies.
Perhaps this is part of the reason why the native ancestry was not hidden in this family.
There were two parts really that we knew of on the Native American side of things. One, the Eliezer William tie, and the other is she always did a kind of a family tree. And we all knew that one of our ancestors, Grandpa, was a Menominee chief. Jim did some real deep digging and found out that it really wasn't a Menominee chief, that El Espanol was of a Canadian, and he was an Ojibwe. Just that part of the history we had, our mother kind of instilled in us.
Just the history of Wisconsin, and you go around Winnebago, and the different names they're all Native American names. So you got to tie that history of, two different type of cultures coming together on really what formed the state.
And being a part of both cultures was very unique.